Okay, now we were discussing yesterday that there are two sectors where India has the right to win. One is steel and second is textiles. So remember in textile sector, which was a large growth sector and export sector for us, the dynamics have changed. There's Bangladesh, there is Vietnam, and there is mass manufacturing which is happening in India, in China. Given that it's China plus one, and the fact that now Indian manufacturing sector is on some kind of a rebound mode, how exactly the trends are shaping up for the apparel stroke the textile industry? Let's discuss that with Mr. Sivaramakrishnan Ganapathi, Managing Director with Gokaldas Exports. And you've got Mr. P. Sundararajan, Chairman and Managing Director of SP Apparels. Mr. Rajan, good morning. Let me start with you. Just for the benefit of our viewers, can you just outline the textile trends for us, the sector you represent, and the kind of business vertical you are in?
Yeah, good morning, yes. And say this our SP Apparels is about 30 years old company, and we are fully vertically integrated setup, and we are into predominantly garment manufacturing. That is JC products, that is knitwear products, especially for the kids and babies. This we have been doing extremely well. Of late, the industry, textile and apparel industry, is doing extremely very well, and we are on board with that one. It looks forward, it looks like there's going to be a very very promising. Great future for the textile and apparel industry due to a few reasons. One of them are there is a strong belief that FTA will be soon announced, very soon, before end of March or something like that, which is what been long awaited by most other countries like UK, Europe, and all for the past 20 years. So which is going to be true very shortly. The second one is this definitely anti-China sentiments are there for whatever reasons. Number one, the buyers are trying to move the business from China to elsewhere, and the first priority goes to India. The reason why they want to move away from China is, number one, they are becoming very expensive. Number two, China is showing more interest towards their domestic requirement for the textile and apparel industry rather than the export one. And also, of course, because of this COVID thing, there are certain sentiments, against China. So these things are in favor of us, and our government is definitely supporting a lot for textile and apparel industries. Recently, they have announced a package also for 10,000 crores for the MMF and man-made fibers and technical textiles. So, and also they revised the ROSCTL. So these things are very much in favor of the industry.
Mr. Ganpati, last time when we spoke about issues like container shortage. We spoke about issues like competitiveness, which very few companies in India they enjoy. How do you see in this entire focus on manufacturing and Atmanirbhar India, Indian textile exporters would move? I mean, will the business be restricted to large exporters? Will the small exporters out of Delhi or small exporters out of South, let's say whether it is Erode or Guntur, they will struggle?
So you've asked quite a few questions here. As Mr. Sundarajan indicated, the macroeconomic factors are favoring us for the reasons that he mentioned. Broadly, one, revival of market in the Western world. So both US and Europe are reviving very sharply. And end user apparel sales is exceeding that of 2019 levels in some of those countries, which is pre-COVID levels. So current levels are doing better than pre-COVID levels. China is, shedding its business slowly but surely, primarily due to their cost structures, also because of trade embargoes on the country. And that also is resulting in more business coming India's way and other countries which compete with China's way. And most importantly, the government support, which is indeed helping the Indian industry, and that will help the entire industry. So, for instance, announcing a stable export incentive policy all the way till FY24, providing a PLI scheme and announcing it, is also going to support the industry going forward. FTA will support the industry going forward. So the confluence of all these macroeconomic factors will aid all the players in the industry, and all of them can indeed take advantage of it. It then depends on the individual companies how fast and how much further can they go with the opportunity. So those who can invest in creating capacity, plus those who can execute very well, will be the winners. And in this business, since we are a B2B business, we have to make sure that we stay close to our customers, and execution becomes extremely critical for sustainable success. And people who will do that, regardless of their size, will definitely prosper. Bigger players will have a certain edge over the others, and that, and if they execute well, they can probably leap forth much faster. As far as the container shortage point that you alluded to a little earlier, that remains an endemic problem for Indian industry or with global industry as such. And hopefully, as time passes, in a few quarters, it should ebb, and the container problem should go away. Currently, it is being caused by certain challenges coming up from the Far East. But our hope is that the problem will eventually go away. I don't foresee that as a long-term issue. It's a short-term issue indeed, which impacts trade flows.
So net, things are looking good for textile exports. Let's also hope India starts gaining back the market share it has lost to Bangladesh in the last decade or so. Mr. Ganapathi, what I would also like to get a sense from you is the demand that's coming in from Europe and America. Is it back to pre-COVID levels? This is also around the time, the summer styles, for example, are being finalized. I'm guessing the shipping is already underway for Thanksgiving and Christmas festive season. So what is it looking like as far as demand goes going forward?
See, our demand is based on how much of end user demand is generated for the brands that we sell to. And when I look at the end user demand, that is people buying garments from the big apparel makers, that has, as I mentioned, has gone above pre-COVID levels. So if I look at 2019 year to date in the US, and compare 2021 year to date, that is Jan to say September, the in-store sales are up over 2019 levels. E-commerce sales are way up, about 40-50% up over 2019 levels. So in general, our customers are seeing a huge demand traction, and in consequence, they are placing more orders on the suppliers. So yes, demand is up over pre-COVID levels because of a strong market resurgence in the Western markets.
The dollar index, you brought up this point about being competitiveness at a time with what's happening in the US markets and the bond flows, etc. What can India do to take advantage of that currency? Because that has always turned out to be a big issue, and look at the way the dollar index is moving.
So you see, it's currency has got several other factors playing on it. Obviously, as an exporter, we would always like a weaker rupee, as it makes us more competitive. But what is critical to see is what's our currency, in relation to competing currencies like Taka, like yuan and other currencies. So if Indian currency depreciates, but it is in line with the yuan depreciation, then we don't get an extraordinary relative advantage. Of course, it ameliorates our cost structures and helps us with our margins. So it depends on how our currency acts in relation to other exporting currencies as well for sustainable competitive advantage.
Right. Mr. Sundararajan, if I could get you in on the discussion, you talked about demand being fairly buoyant. Just wanted to understand which geographies is the demand coming in from. If you could stack up the demand from, markets like the US and UK as opposed to India, what is actually aiding and leading the growth?
Yes, the market demand comes from all over, the Western countries, and particularly in the UK and all over Europe. As well as in the US, the demand is, as Mr. Sivaram said, that it is, pre-COVID situation, rather I would say even much more than pre-COVID situation. It is not only the increase in the demand, but also there's some of the business coming from China to us. This is a very obvious information that additional business what we are getting is in addition to the demand. There's also some business from China is diverted here.
So at a time when things are looking that buoyant, have you had any new client acquisitions, or is business coming in from the same existing clients?
Currently, with our existing customers, their requirement, they are insisting us, emphasizing us to increase the business by another 30 to 40% from what they have been buying from us. In addition to this, yes, there are new customers who are approaching us for additional business. So as a company, we are working on increasing the capacities to serve to all of them in addition to our existing customers' additional requirements.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Ganapathi, Mr. Sundararajan, great speaking with you, and thanks as always for joining in today on ET Now.
Hey, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to